We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Are you paying attention? Paying attention to what? The Taiwan dollar. The Taiwan dollar. Yeah, wait a minute. Don't click off. The Taiwan dollar is moving in such a dramatic fashion. Guess what? The dollar is being devalued. Let me say that again. The dollar is being devalued. The trade deals, well, you can have a trade deal that goes, well, we'll buy some more from you and we'll do it that way. Or you could say, you know what? We're going to have the central banks adjust the currencies. We'll have the dollar go lower and American goods will be cheaper. How about that? And this has happened before, way back in 1985. And guess what? It's happening right now in the Taiwan dollar, Taiwan, home of semiconductors. And it's probably happening in currencies across Asia. Thank you to my former colleagues at Goldman for bringing this to my attention. It's also all over Bloomberg. Now, what does this mean for crypto? So let me get this straight. We're devaluing the dollar. First, we did it versus gold, and everyone was bearish. And then Bitcoin ripped $20,000. Now everyone's selling Bitcoin or what, and altcoins in general. Because I don't know, we still think whatever Jerome Powell says matters. What a joke. Meanwhile, they're devaluing the dollar. So they're devaluing the dollar versus Asian currencies. Now, when you move currencies this dramatically, it can mean two things. One, Bitcoin's next, right? Taiwan dollar goes up massively. Asian currencies go up massively. Dollar falls. Okay. Bitcoin goes up massively. Dollar falls. All right. Also, when you have dramatic currency movements like this, I'll show you the chart. For us, it looks like an altcoin scam. This is just straight down, right? Like Ohm. Okay. But when you have these kind of moves in legacy, they can be so dramatic, somebody can blow up. So we could have legacy weirdness part two. So dollar devaluation, Bitcoin up. Legacy weirdness, Bitcoin up. Fed doesn't matter. Bitcoin up. Fed is stupid. Bitcoin up. Did I miss anything? Don't go anywhere. If the market is dipping, we have levels. We have levels and we have possible pivots. We will discuss this. We will discuss this. All right. Now, we are going to welcome who is here at our new time, 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Okay. We got Alexandra, who is here. She fell asleep during the last stream, so we got this going on for our friends in Europe. Carmenko, Zapatis, welcome. Tyler, Tooth, Javier, what's up? Thomas, Yao Lopez, Requiem, Ben, Yav, welcome to the show. New time, 8 a.m. Eastern, NFA, LFG. Here comes the Jerome Powell dummy dip news. Let's go. By the way, we're going to go into, don't go anywhere because we have levels that we think are going to hold from ChatGPT. And we have asset allocation for altcoins, say in the first part of May. And that might actually surprise you. It actually surprised me, given that I'm kind of Bitcoin bull-tard a little bit. Some surprising answers. We'll check it out. Okay, news. Let's go. Okay, more FAFO. Orange man to collect defaulted student loan debts, seize wages, tax refunds, and benefits. Yikes. Okay, so I have mixed feelings about student loans, right? Universities ripped kids off. Kids made dumb decisions. They paid $250,000 for a philosophy degree with borrowed money, and they can't pay. The interest rates are too high. It's catastrophic. It is. It is. And of all the things Brandon tried to do, this might have made some sense. If you're going to print, get these kids out of this catastrophic debt. Now, that said, Some people had to pay, and that means everyone's got to pay, right? You don't just get to not pay. That's how the market works. Most likely, the people who stopped paying were the ones who were fans of the other administration. And this guy he's leaning on Harvard. He is leaning on anybody who doesn't have his ideology. Now, hopefully, this translates into the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, which, oh, by the way, okay, there was a 60-day plan. The executive order for the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve said we need a plan in 60 days. Where's the plan? They're a little late. Their term paper's late. Okay. But if they're this determined, hopefully that translates over to Bitcoin. Now, the Senate is getting on board, right? The tariffs are unpopular. So now Congress is jumping on board and saying, let's get rid of taxes on overtime. Matter of fact, my theory is you got to get rid of taxes on anybody less than 150, or you're going to have a catastrophic problem with housing. I keep coming back to this, right? You have a labor market that flattens out or gets weaker post, inauguration euphoria, and you don't start helping people with taxes, people are going to be in trouble with their debt. It's already happening in student loans. Now, there's also another add-on to this. Congress won't stop spending. They won't. They're like, oh, spending cuts? Tax cuts? Great. Spending cuts? Oh, I don't know about that. We're going to hear from Warren Buffett, don't laugh, later about what he thinks about U.S. fiscal policy. So, if you're keeping track, this morning's scorecard, Asian currencies up, dollar down. Congress, spend. Elon Musk, run out of town. Bitcoin. This is why Satoshi wrote the Bitcoin white paper. When governments behave badly, boom. Okay. Oil. Again, just in case you think the orange man is fooling around, oil companies are all messed up about $50 or $60 oil. They're messed up over this. Their capital expenditures and the amount of money that they have. And they all donated heavy to the orange man because it was drill, baby, drill. They thought it was drill, baby, drill with oil at 80. Ha! Orange man's just like, no, I want it down. Down. And when they wanted it down, it went down. When they want the dollar lower versus Asian currencies, it's going lower. If they want it to move, they can make it move. Fingers crossed, Bitcoin next. Ooh, little Skynet regulation here. OpenAI blinks, scraps for-profit plan after outside pressure. Huh? You mean abandoning all safety protocols and running a for-profit venture to build an AI, I don't know, strange machine? Gee, that's a bad idea. These guys playing God, yeah, bad idea. Bad idea. Now, are they going to do it anyway? Yeah, they're going to do it anyway, whether it's for profit or not. I think all it means, if it's not for profit, that we're just going to pay more. I think that's what is going to wind up happening. We're just going to pay more, but they just slowed them down, right? In other words, not on building hardware. This confirms what I've been saying. Two things. One, they could have, something super duper intelligent now if they had the hardware. And they're slowing these guys down. Because if they had it, you could have labor market displacement. That said, if you're going to invest in AI, do it in crypto. Do it in crypto, right? Don't invest in these characters. Thank God these characters can't go public. Who knows what they could do? Invest in AI in crypto. And if you don't understand what to do, do Farcoin. Not investment advice. I'm not a big fan, but that's why Farcoin goes up, because everyone hates it. Seriously. Okay, gold. Whales and minnows swimming to gold. Is gold overdone? Well, of course, the gold guys will tell you no. Here's the gold parabolic. Whoop. Bitcoin's next. Now, I love this. You know how I'm always saying gold is a dollar devaluation. Everyone kind of like, what? Gold is a dollar devaluation. Here's the dollar versus gold. We'll go over the dollar versus Asian currencies coming up. Dollar is being devalued. The only way out of a debt crisis is to devalue the currency. The only way out of a trade problem is to devalue the currency. And the ninnies are selling Bitcoin today off the Fed. Why has the Taiwan dollar soared in value and who benefits? Okay, so the media is currently trying to figure this out. There are all these elaborate threads. Okay, so, volume in the US Taiwan dollar not seen since in 15 years. Okay, so Taiwan is where they make semiconductors. Taiwan is where they make a lot of things. That's why it's a geopolitical hot button issue. And we're doing a trade deal. We're doing a trade deal and we're devaluing the dollar. We're devaluing the dollar. And I will show the chart. Now it's everywhere. It's all over the place. Like Taiwan dollar record rally is a trade war tremor. You're right, it is. It could be a legacy blow up over this, or people could just wake up and go, wow, they're devaluing the dollar. This hasn't sunk in yet. It has not. Right. And I was looking at a Twitter thread, right before we came on the air, which was actually pretty funny, where there's this this sort of a meme where a guy is sitting in the corner, right? And, he's looking at everybody and he says, they don't know about the Taiwan dollar yet. They don't know what's going on because I think, here we go, here it is. They haven't seen US Taiwan dollar yet. Okay. It's like, hello, this is happening. This is a dollar devaluation. Meanwhile, on Doomberg, who is going to tell you everything negative, and I'm going to tell you to ignore it, the EU targets $100 billion with U.S. goods if talks fail, because we hate the orange man and we're going to say anything we can. Stupid. Right? In other words, why be negative? Bitcoin is about prosperity. Bitcoin is things machines are going to use. Bitcoin is your personal solution to government dysfunction. How nice, right? That you don't have to just sit here and buy canned goods and watch it all do whatever. You don't even have to talk about it. I mean, you do, but you don't have to obsess over it. You don't have to go Ray Dalio over it. Goldman says bear market rallies are the norm. So this is everything we talked about yesterday, right? Everybody at Goldman going, yeah, the market going up is painful because everyone's bearish, but this will stop. Everyone's going to get negative. Okay. Stocks are in a range, right? It's a bull market. It's going up forever. It's a bear market. It's going down forever. When you have those kind of sentiment, it's a range, right? Oh, it's going up. Everyone buys, traders sell. Sentiment fades. Market goes down. It's going to zero. It's all over. I'm hedging. I'm selling. I'm getting out. Traders go, thank you very much. And it goes back up. And that goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And I think that's what's going to be happening in equities all year while crypto trends. Crypto can trend. Equities cannot. They will figure this out very soon. Very soon. Especially if they're going to hit the market over something completely idiotic like Powell. I no longer mind because he no longer matters. He has screwed up on interest rates, period. Right. And I don't even know if they're going to be able to unwind it in time before something weird happens in the bond market. But like I said yesterday, that's all good for us. Hey, no problem. You want to just continue screwing up? Congress wants to continue spending? Great. Terrific. Now, the other reason to buy Bitcoin. DoorDash all geared up for dystopia, right? We're all going to work for DoorDash. Yup. Okay. DoorDash buys 7 rooms for $1.2 billion DoorDash buying Deliveroo for $3.9 billion. Okay. DoorDash issuing a strong orders outlook for the current quarter, because we're all going to work for DoorDash, or anybody who's in tech, AI, orders from DoorDash or whatever. We're all working for DoorDash. No, not you. No. Okay, because we're in crypto and we're not doing that. I mean, if you need to work for DoorDash, of course, everyone's got 6 jobs, right? I get it. Or not. Or you sit there and wonder, why is DoorDash exploding massively? Right? Because people with money want delivery, and people who don't have money have to work 2 jobs or more. Not us, because we're going to get involved in crypto, because guess what? We're early. We're early. Okay, so markets are shifting view on Fed rates. They may not need cuts. 5 other things you need to know today. Okay, 5 things you need to know today. Rates are too high. Okay. There's no data to cut rates based on the way Powell thinks. The orange man is furious. Believe it or not, rightly so. I don't want him making interest rate decisions, but he's right to be outraged. Unfortunately, when he does, he loses credibility. And guess what? At the end of the day, who's the winner of Fed dysfunction? Bitcoin is. And everything follows Bitcoin. Ironically, altcoins may do well, because I asked for asset allocation. Like, what would you do for asset allocation for the next month? And all of a sudden, okay, it's talking about, well, we'll see. We'll find out what it's talking about. I was shocked. Bottom line is, dollar down, crypto up. Okay. Orange Man says we're going to help people in the Middle East get some food. Yeah, that would be a good idea. That'd be a good idea. Right. The optics on what's going on over there, I don't like it. I don't. Right. Let's do the right thing. And then get to Bitcoin, please. Harvard. Nah. Play around and find out. Like I said, when they get done with this, hopefully they move to Bitcoin aggressively. Again, that conference at the end of the month, right? Let's pay attention, all our friends in government, right? Okay. News on the crypto bill. We talked about this earlier today. Naturally, the left is pushing back. So he pushes Harvard, and then the left pushes back over here. Let's hope we can stop that. New Bitcoin commercial created by Coinbase. I mentioned that yesterday. That's why the market's down. Do a commercial, sell the market. They hate it. Down. It's like 91K or some panic sell-off over Powell. It's like, God. Okay, going to PowerPoint where we have very decent stuff today. Very decent. Okay, now. Okay, so this thing with Bitcoin at 97 is getting annoying. Annoying. Can't get through 97, and guess what? Now it looks like they want to hit it to 91. And if we're lucky, they're going to hit it to 98. Because I'm telling you right now, if they hit it on stonks, trade, Powell, that is all, this all bunk, right? You know, even things like SUI, right? They give you a dip in the SUIs and, other altcoins between now and the Fed. It's a gift. I think the market should have been higher by now already, but we're still operating like Powell matters. Okay. Now, here's what's going on in the Taiwan dollar, right? Crazy action here. Crazy. Okay. Watch this. Okay, wait. before we get to that, hold on. you know, you know, with the Orange Man, it's unbelievable. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose as long as you irritate everybody. Okay, President of the United States is advertising for his dinner for his meme coin. They want to impeach him over this stuff. Hopefully they get to Bitcoin soon. It would be nice. Like you have the dinner and then, oh yeah, by the way, here's the 60-day strategic reserve paper we told you about. If they announce it at the dinner, I don't know when the dinner is, May 22nd. Okay, 2 days before the Bitcoin conference starts. Watch out. People are not paying attention to this. I'm telling you. People are not focusing on what they could do around that conference. Now, the Taiwan dollar. So here's the dollar. Okay, the dollar is always going up because Bloomberg says it's super strong. And the Fed's raising rates, and all of a sudden, boom. They wipe out 3 years worth of gains in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. A lot of that done yesterday. And my homie says if people aren't short the dollar versus Asian currencies, they're not paying attention. Like that meme, they haven't heard about what's going on in Taiwan yet. Quote, Taiwan recently held initial trade talks with U.S. representatives, fueling speculation about a trade agreement that it could include currency valuation adjustments. Guess what? Like I said, if central banks wanted to move, they'll make it move. And I didn't do it for this chart, but if you inverted this to show the Taiwan dollar going up, you would have your classic altcoin God candle, right? Taiwan dollar, whoop, dollar, straight down. Just like that gold chart. Remember I showed you that? Yeah, dollar collapsing. Now, further good news for Bitcoin. Warren Buffett on the way out. I mentioned very briefly in the annual report that fiscal policy, Congress, is what scares me the most. They drive interest rates, not Powell. They are spending so much money and they are so big. If they spend, rates go up. If they cut it back, rates go down. That's it. Okay. Now, but that's not limited to the United States. It's everywhere. They devalue at rates that are breathtaking, and that's continued, meaning they're devaluing the currency. Okay, we're opening up a fiscal deficit that is now unsustainable over a very long period of time. We don't know whether that means 2 years or 20 years, but there's never been a country like the United States. But as Herbert Stein, the famous economist, said, okay, if something can't go on forever, it will end. We are doing something that is unsustainable, and it has the aspect to it that it gets uncontrollable at a certain point. We have talked about this. Congress won't stop. And Elon wanted to get $2 trillion, and he actually got $56 billion. That's what he got. And some Twitter headlines before he just disappeared from the news cycle per all the big mutual funds like BlackRock and the board of directors that own Tesla stock. Guess what? Owning Twitter does not give you the right to go in and scream at everybody. Remember that? These guys are carrying on. Elon went into a cabinet meeting and screamed at these guys. Gone. They're going to just continue to, the Chinese have to print, and these guys are printing. They got to print. They can't sustain the spending without the printing. Now, guess what? The short-term alpha forecast. What are you going to buy on the dip? And if you did, how would you allocate it? Simple, right? Well, guess what? On the dip, it wants to buy, this model wants to buy Solana. What's number 2? Bitcoin? No, Cardano. And I was like, Cardano? What? Yeah. So if they smack this thing over the next week, the model wants to go 28% Solana, 25% Cardano, 18% XRP, and Bitcoin brings up the rear. So I don't know. Maybe the model thinks Bitcoin goes later, but it's funny that if they smack the market, they want to buy altcoins. And I have research on SUI that, SUI from this like 5th to the 9th is like a big GAN window. So who knew? If altcoins get smacked, they want to buy Solana and Cardano and SUI. Everyone's always asking, like, what should my asset allocation be? I can do this stuff on like a week-to-week basis now. Now, more levels, right? It's like, what do you do for chart analysis when there's no chart, there's no movement? Okay, well, this is what we have. So for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, and XRP, right, we have dip targets. So if we have a modest dip, 91 Bitcoin, right? 91 Bitcoin, 1,700, 1,722 ETH, 137 Solana, and $2 XRP. Now, if it gets messy, 87K Bitcoin, which is interesting because that's where that Lux Algo support was that I showed on a chart earlier. So interesting that this model that's not looking at the chart knows about 87K. 1,650 Ethereum, ouch, right? 132 Solana and sub $2 XRP. I have a hard time seeing sub $2 XRP, right? I have a hard time seeing that kind of dip in general, okay? Right? Here we go. Here we go. Eagle King with the fresh Elon news. They'll never stop spending. They'll never stop spending. Right? This is the Bitcoin case right here. Elon stepping back from Doge, but promises Doge will be permanent instead of wrapping up in July. While Congress and judges limited Doge cuts, the biggest win has been the industrial scale corruption, okay, that they revealed. Voters will never see Washington the same. And it's true, right? I mean, it was like unlimited parties. Like, there was a portion of the government that you could like rent out a Vegas hotel and just party on Uncle Sam. And then Doge said, yeah, can you please submit receipts? And all spending stopped. But they only got 56 billion. They never got the real sugar. They didn't get $1 trillion. They didn't even get 100 billion. I mean, they did on paper. They didn't do anything. And all this stuff is big show. It's all talk. It's all talk. Now, whether the strategic reserve is all talk or not remains to be seen. But the fact of the matter is, these guys are not going to stop spending. And then, if you look at what's happening in the market, you go back to this and you go, wait a minute. Is this dip a gift? Are they dipping the market when they should be taking it higher? This thinks so. 91K, I'll take it. 1,700 Ethereum, I'll take it. Solana below 140 with this signal, like basically, okay, if you said, all right, you're riding in an elevator with your homies, you're just like, ding, hey, what do you want to buy on this dip? Answer, ready? Solana, SUI, Cardano. How funny is that? How funny is that? Okay. Especially since Bitcoin dominance just kind of continues to go up because, every time altcoins go down, they go down 5%. Let's bring that chart up. Bitcoin dominance just keeps going up. It just keeps ticking higher and higher and higher, right? Like Bitcoin dominance Oh, God, what did I do? Just lose it? Okay, there we go. Now, Bitcoin dominance is like deep into its premium zone. And as constructive as I am on Bitcoin and crypto conceptually, Bitcoin dominance seems a little bit overbaked, which is interesting because the machine, which again doesn't know about these charts, wants to buy Solana and Cardano. It wants to buy altcoins when the market goes down, which is funny, don't you think? I think it's kind of funny. And I think it's funny that they're going to hit it on Powell because Powell doesn't matter. And what will happen is, and what usually happens with crypto, I think, is everyone freaks out in front of Powell. And then either right before Powell opens his mouth or as soon as he steps up to the podium, see you. And I'll take any volatility he wants to give me. He wants to give me Bitcoin at 88K, even though that seems a little nasty. That's nasty, right? Because they would be unwinding all of this. But again, Luxalgo's got this. Luxalgo's got the 200-day moving average. So if they want to hit it, go ahead. Then, if you come in here, the way I'm doing this is, I want to find support on tactical charts, right? So we set up our levels, and now I'm just looking for any DeMark signal I can get, right? So who knows? Maybe on Powell, they'll wick it below this local low, like around 93 something, right? Maybe they got one more wick down. Great. Bitcoin on support right now, right? Same thing with ETH. You got a 9 bottom in ETH, and who knows? Maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. If you look at ETH, it probably is, right? Solana, same thing. This is on a 90-minute chart. This is basically a retest of the recent low. How nice. What's everyone doing? Well, I don't know. They're selling on what? They're getting everyone out. That's what it feels like. This feels like, institutions get your crypto. Let's all get afraid of Powell. Ooh. Meanwhile, we have a real deal. Oh, and I'm not sharing the screen. Okay. But it is pretty straightforward. I don't know why I'm not seeing Telegram. Okay. So, XRP, okay, actually lower low. So, but solid support at 207, which is one of the things that the model talked about. Again, Solana, right? 13 bottom, and then they're doing some kind of panic additional liquidation. Again, this feels like a crypto grab. Okay. Feels like a crypto grab. Bitcoin down here at 93. No one interested in selling. I'm not interested in selling Bitcoin. The deepest dip is 91 if everyone gets hysterical, but why would they? Well, I don't know, because they think Powell still matters. All right, folks, wrapping this up. The dollar is falling. The dollar is falling. Okay. Powell has no credibility. Neither does Congress. Machines will never use fiat. Bitcoin is a component of a prosperous future. So if you want to move away from all the Ray Dalio negativity, even though, that's relevant, who knew, ready? Who knew that this trade problem would result in currency adjustments, which could favor Bitcoin? Doomberg hasn't written about that yet, but they might be writing about that in 3 weeks. So 2 weeks, it was crypto winter. And then 3 weeks from now, Doomberg will go, hey, this tariff thing and currency adjustments is a part of the trade deal. God, I think that helped Bitcoin. Tomorrow's news today. That's what we do here. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow.